Okay. Will you count me down?
Yep. You're going to hear me flipping papers this time.
Oh, I like it. It's like natural sound.
Hello?
Hello? Do you hear yourself?
I can hear myself. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Oh.
You okay?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to The Peaceful Truth, the podcast where we talk about everything from women empowerment, feminism, and everything in between. I'm joined by my co-host,
Megan Hoharts.
and myself, Kenzie and Meghan. And yay! Welcome to episode 17.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
We should do something big for our 20th birthday.
Or our 100th birthday. We should do something crazy.
Oh, we're going crazy at 100.
How was your week, Maggie?
My week was really good. Wednesday was my last day as a CPA.
How are you feeling? What are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I feel excited and nervous and wondering if I made the right decision. But I think
That's natural.
I think that these are all natural feelings. Exactly. This is a ginormous career change. And so I think that this is all normal. And I start my new job tomorrow, Monday.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, girl. So Wednesday, they had a really nice happy hour for me to say goodbye. Not goodbye, see you later. And all of my coworkers came in. It was a really great send-off party. And then Thursday, oh, girl. Thursday was a big day.
What happened Thursday?
I legally changed my name back to Hoharts.
Yes. Yes, queen, yes.
So whenever I applied for my job that I moved to Seattle for, I don't know why. I was a total idiot. I could have shown my passport and my name would have been Hoharts. But for some reason, I chose to show my social security card because you know how you have to show proof of employment and those are your two options. For some reason, I was an idiot and showed my social security card that had my married name. And so then I had to effing live with my married name at work. And I was so I think what was going on in my mind was that I just wanted to get to Seattle so fast. It was just I didn't even think about it. It was literally bottom on my list of things to think about. So I was just oh, here, this is my proof of employment. They're like, okay, Megan. And then, so then I had to live with my married name. And so now everything is Hoharts. I am so excited and I'm never changing my name again. And Desmond is totally fine with it.
Great. Yeah, we shouldn't have to, but if you feel like it. Good.
If you feel like it, yeah, I think it's case by case, whatever you want to do. And I also talked to Des about, I know we say we're not going to have kids because right now in our lives we don't want kids, but I mean, I think that could always change in 10 years. And about hyphenating a kid's last name. So it would be Hoharts Young. And Kenzie does not like it, and neither does Chelsea. Chelsea was like, don't do it. And I was like, it's not fair.
I mean, that's a long one. Meek-beck is pretty concise, but that's kind of a long one.
Hoharts Young is long. Hoharts is a long last name.
That's like a dozen characters. A dozen plus characters.
It's a long one, but it's honestly if I have a kid and my husband's name is Young and my kid's name is Young, I feel
weird.
left out.
Yeah, no. It's like a weird cultural thing. I don't know if it's necessarily it's just how unfortunately society chose that. Not unfortunately, it's just they chose one because men were in power for forever, still are mainly. But yeah, no, but it's I debate whether I would take my husband's name, even if I have one, you know, I don't know if I will, but if I do have a husband, I don't know if I would change my name or not, but I would kind of feel I would like to match my kid's last name and just keep the hereditary keep going for chronological and not chronological for what's the word I'm thinking of for documenting it properly so you can kind of look it up and stuff and for history purposes.
You could hyphenate with your husband's last name and then they could have 2 hyphens in their last name.
That's the joke everyone makes.
Sorry.
Meek-beck hyphen whatever.
Chelsea's would be is it meek-beck?
Yeah.
So Chelsea's would be meek-beck-roni.
That's a lot. I don't even know if you can do that. Do you think you could?
I think you could.
Damn.
Is Meek your mom's name or your dad's name?
Meek is mom, Beck is dad.
Yeah, I think Hoharts Young sounds better than Young Hoharts.
Yeah.
Young Hoharts just sounds like you're talking about
Young Hoharts.
A little Hoharts that is young.
Well, it's kind of true.
So I talked to Des about it, and he said he was like a little bit hesitant, but then he was like, I don't really care. And he was like, we're not going to have kids anyway, so I don't know why we're talking about this. I was like, true, but what if an accident happened, or what if like 10 years from now we're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put it out there to see what he thought, because it's a little bit of a deal breaker for me.
What?
Having my kids hyphenated. Like, if he were to say, no, their name has to be Young, I may not be with him.
That's a deal breaker.
A little bit.
I don't know how I would feel.
After I went through what I went through changing my name, a name means a lot to me now. And so it's powerful. A name is powerful.
I get it.
So Thursday I changed my name. Oh my gosh. Social security office, driver's license office, the bank. You can't even list all the places that you got to go. So, but I didn't even care. I was so excited. And then Friday
Can I go back to the name thing real fast to like list another example I just thought of? You know, the family I was telling us about last week that encourages their son to do whatever?
Yes.
They like combined parts of their name to make up their last name. So it's not hyphenated. They just created a new last name together.
And so the husband and the wife and the kids all have this new created last name?
It's Saccone Jolie. And one was Jolie and one was Saccone Jolie.
Oh, that's cool.
But like, I think it would take a different name to have that. Or what if we just created new last names when you got married that you both thought of, and then that's the new one, so no one has to take it.
That's true. That's a good idea too.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then Friday I'm co-hosting a yoga workshop. And so we planned it out. We spent a good 3 hours jotting that baby down and getting it down. So my really good friend from yoga teacher training is going to teach, and I'm going to play the harmonium.
Good. That's awesome. Is that Finding Freedom Yoga?
Yeah, it's Finding Freedom Yoga.
I love her. What's her real name?
Maggie.
Maggie. Hi, Maggie. I'm sorry I didn't know your real name, but I feel like I just know her, and that's like her name in my head.
Yeah, you always, whenever you ask me, you're always like, are you with Finding Freedom Yoga right now? I'm like, yes, I'm with Finding Freedom Yoga. That's
Maggie, your handle is now your real name in my head. Well, at least it's a good name.
Yeah, it's a great name. And so that was Friday. And then Saturday, we went out for Kenzie's birthday. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, so we went out for my birthday last night. And, like, I'm lucky, like, with my family, mainly with Chelsea. Like, by osmosis, oftentimes we develop each other's friends and we kind of take them in and we become a giant friend group. So by osmosis, I have a lot of new friends now. And a lot of them came out to support, and it was so sweet that everyone came out.
Yeah, it was a great night.
Yeah, so like 10 people came out and made me feel really special. So thanks everyone who came. And we went out to eat in Bellevue, 520 Bar and Grill, which is delicious food.
Really
and they made
good.
It really special. They really did. They brought out a free birthday shot, I think, and then 3 different desserts.
They put balloons on your chair.
They put balloons on my chair. They sang. It was really sweet. And then we went out just to the W, and we found our own little corner that was really quiet compared to the rest of the club. And we just drank our drinks and sat in our corner and we could hear each other and just relax for a little bit. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, it was a great time meeting with great people.
Yeah, I didn't want a club. I just, you know what I mean? Just wanted to be outside.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm glad that you thought of to do that.
Yeah, so my birthday's actually Tuesday. I'll be 26.
The big 26.
4 years away. I like how that's how Megan and I like count age. What are we going to do when we actually hit 30? Then we're counting down to 40?
I guess.
Oh, gosh.
I feel like I'm going to be so sad to turn 30.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like birthdays are less special the older you get, you know?
Oh, for sure.
But it's just like, I don't know. But people made it special yesterday, which is nice.
We should purposely try to make people's birthdays special as they get older.
I try to do that in people's lives. I try my best to make my family and friends feel special on their day, but
Yeah. Because whenever I think about my mom's birthday, it's just like, happy birthday, Mom, I love you. And then we'll go to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice. It's nice to go to dinner, but it should be like the whole shebang, like we did for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make a conscious effort to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, but then last week was very busy. We recorded Monday but it was good. Recorded Monday. I went out on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I went to a therapist.
I'm so proud of you.
I'll publicly speak about it to raise awareness, even though I get like nervous about it. But I went to a therapist and it was good. And I'm going to try to keep seeing her. She's kind of like, she likes to test her relationships with her patients. So like she calls it like her first few appointments, like we're getting to know each other and see if we both feel like this is a good fit. So I like that it's more like a relationship where you get to know each other, you know? So we did that. And then Thursday I took a night to relax because I just feel like I've been so busy, which was nice. And then Friday explored Capitol Hill, and then Saturday went out. So yeah. Oh, and we had Boo, which is one of our friend's daughter, that's her nickname, come out and stayed the night. And then we went to the zoo with her yesterday, and we did a whole list of things she wanted to do, like a bucket list for her sleepover with us.
Yeah, you guys were on top of it. I mean, they did crafts, they did Halloween projects, they picked leaves, they went to the zoo, they took her to McDonald's. Like, I was like, what did you guys do? And then y'all listed stuff for like a good 10 minutes. I was like, dang, that sounds like the best slumber party ever.
We played card games, we did puzzles.
Y'all watched a Halloween movie?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah, I love little kid things. They make holidays. Kids make holidays feel special again.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like birthdays and Halloween and Christmas. They just make like I love kids because they just make life, I feel like, more celebratory.
Definitely.
So she's adorable. And she wrote me a handwritten birthday card, and it literally made my whole life.
Oh.
And it's like all spelled wrong. It's adorable. It's the cutest thing with this long note that probably took a long time to write. And I told her mom last night, Christina, and Christina was like, oh yeah, she does that.
Oh.
So cute.
Before we get started, I also wanted to talk about the sweatshirt that I'm wearing. It says love >hate. So love is greater than hate. All of the proceeds went to the Las Vegas victims.
Oh, really?
Yep. And so I got it from the Shop Forward. And the Shop
Are
Forward...
they still selling them?
Yep, they're still selling them. And they're selling sweatshirts and hats and shirts and everything. So everything that says love is greater than hate goes to Las Vegas. So the Shop Forward is a organization where they choose a charity or somewhere to donate the money to that they raise from each of their items. And so it'll tell you, okay, you're purchasing this and this is where the money is going. So
nice. I need to get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I just like the slogan. Anyway.
I know. That's a good
great.
one.
That's good. It goes along with our themes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here, let me move my laptop to be in the middle because Megan and I took several notes. Megan forgot her laptop, so literally on pieces of paper. So if you hear flipping through paper, if you're just listening.
I went old school.
Yeah. Okay, moving over the laptop. Okay. Ooh, and by the way, shouts out to Bree, one of our friends who bought me this candle. It smells delicious. I freaking love candles. And Maggie got me perfume. I just feel like I'm the best smelling gal in all the world right now. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. I guess first what we want to do, I guess, started off with that this whole podcast, we're like relating it back to a specific incident, but we're talking about elements of it that women have to go through and experience, and just breaking it down about cultural things. Would you kind of describe it like that?
Yep. So we're going to be talking about systemic sexism and some events that are happening in our world that are happening right now. And so we will be talking about sexual harassment and rape. And so this could be a triggering episode.
Yeah, we wanted to say if you're triggered If you're a victim or just triggered, please tune in next week. We will continue to fight the fight. So just know that we're trying to fight for you. But we wanted to give a shout out though to Seth Meyers for speaking out as a dude, for fighting hard and, just speaking out, which actually means a lot. I know it's not a lot, like no offense to him. It's not a lot just to say this is wrong, but like it means a lot because I feel like a lot of men don't have the balls to do that.
Right. And we watched his YouTube clip, or I watched his YouTube clip like a good 5 times this morning, just over and over watching it because he made so many really good points.
Yeah. We have Annie in here. She's so cute. She wants to be one of the goyles. So shouts out to Seth Meyers. So I guess let's get into who specifically we're kind of taking on today. So do you want to kind of list what he did and who he is?
Yes. So it is Harvey Weinstein. God.
Meghan cannot pronounce his name.
I keep on saying Harvey Weinstein.
It's like the Bernstein Bears.
Oh my God.
Like conspiracy theory.
And I just cannot get it through my head. My God. I'm going to call him Harvey. Is that okay?
Yeah, just call him Harvey.
Okay. So it's about Harvey, and he is very much...
Not the hurricane, but the sexual predator.
Yep. Remind me, he's a producer?
Yeah, producer in the movie and Hollywood industry.
So he is super big in the Hollywood industry. He has been nominated for 300 Oscars and has won 81 Oscars. Some of his works include Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love, and Kenzie was like, pretty much every movie that we like, he's probably been part of. So he's super high up in the industry. And it has come into light recently, 25 accusations of sexual harassment against actresses, models, women that he's worked with in the industry.
And that number's going up.
Including 3 accusations of rape.
So to preface this, just so we don't have to say it over and over, it's accusations, it's not confirmed. So even though it's kind of damning, the evidence is pretty damning, he is not officially convicted, so we're not officially throwing him under that bus, but the evidence is pretty damning.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess some other just topics around him. So more than 24 women, and this is from a BBC article. Among those actresses are Angelina Jolie, Gwyneth Paltrow, Rose McGowan. McGowan. What is she in? I'm having a brain fart.
You would recognize her. She's beautiful.
Oh, cool.
But I can't think of anything that she's in.
Have made accusations against him. This is from BBC, including rape and sexual assault. The New York Times reported that he paid off accusers for decades. His wife left him this week. And so we wanted to kind of go into, I guess, some of these actresses. We wanted to make a point. It took a long time for it to come out. We're not victim blaming. We're just saying, how can we empower women to feel comfortable and safe? Because they're the victims. We don't know what they went through. We don't know how tough it was to come out. We shouldn't blame them. But how can we empower them to come out sooner? So we just wanted to make a point of how long this has been going on. So you had a point about Gwyneth Paltrow you wanted to make.
Yep. So Gwyneth Paltrow is coming out and saying that when she was 22, and you researched it, she's 46 now? 45 now. So this is many years ago that she's finally coming out, and I think that this is beautiful and strong of her to come out and say this to the public. She says that Harvey placed hands on her and suggested that they go back to his room together for massages. Another person I don't think that we've mentioned yet is Ashley Judd. So she had a similar experience, saying that Harvey suggested massages or for her to watch him take a shower.
So that seems to be his sexual assault. And so this is definitely probably a trigger. We're going to kind of go into what he actually did. He would touch them, make them touch him, or allegedly all of this. Watch him in the shower was a repeated thing. Massages was a repeated thing. He had a system. and fetishes, it seems.
Yep.
So I wanted to make another point that, yeah, it took a long time for it to come out. But I feel like if people feel empowered to come out, I'm not victim blaming, but if people feel empowered to come out as soon as possible, maybe we can prevent this quicker from other women being assaulted. Like Cara Delevingne, is that how you pronounce her name?
I don't know how you pronounce her name.
She's a very current figure. Not that Gwyneth isn't. She's just much younger and just starting her career more than Gwyneth is. And she experienced this like a few years ago. So it's like this stuff's still happening. It's still relevant. You know, like we need to not forget about it. You know,
like it happened 20 years ago to Gwyneth Paltrow, and now it's happening just a couple of years ago to Cara. And so thinking of that time span between those, and we don't even know if Gwyneth is the first one, right? And so just thinking of that time span and how many women he could have affected negatively is kind of mind blowing.
And we're about to like go into definitions of like what he actually did and break it down in like terms to kind of rationalize this and not rationalize, but make sense of it, I guess, so we can kind of attack it better. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So some other men that are famous, and this is examples of systemic sexism, and I'll just define that right now before we go into it. But so systemic means like it's status quo. It's often a part of like identity or culture. So it's systemic. It's like patriarchy. And it's a system. So obviously a system, and then sexism. So it means like the system of sexism and misogyny that continues to occur. So examples of this include Donald Trump, President Trump, accusations of sexual assault, which have not been prosecuted and have not gone further, which I'm not for sure why. We don't know the behind the scenes of that. Trump, another thing is locker room talk. And that was his rationalization for the very famous clip and audio that came out saying that because he's like a bigwig and well known, he can touch women and do things, you know.
Yep. And then he rationalized it by saying, oh, that all men do this. This is locker room banter.
Mm-hmm. And so it's rationalizing it, and it's just making it a part of society, you know, and young men look up to these men. They're role models because they're big figures. Mm-hmm. Therefore, we need to call them out for it, and we need to hold them accountable. So younger men don't learn from this and don't think it's okay. Like Trump speaks at Boy Scouts of America rallies and stuff like that, mm-hmm. and meetings.
And then are they going to think that, you know, this kind of degrading speech towards women is okay because it's normal and it's part of the locker room and it's part of being one of the men, and it's getting into their heads that maybe, oh, this is okay to talk like this.
Yeah. And then Cosby, sexual assault and allegedly drugged women. And then Roger Allies. All these, there's several more people out there, but these are just some examples. So, Meg, I guess you wanted to go into him being a predator, right? Harvey being a predator.
I also wanted to go into, we talked about how Trump rationalized his behavior, and how Harvey also rationalized his behavior. He is quoted as saying, "I came of age in the 60s and 70s when all of the rules about behavior and workplaces were different. That was the culture then." And so he's rationalizing it by saying, hey, this was normal in the 60s and 70s, and that's when I came into this business and came of age. And so what I did wasn't out of the ordinary, I think, is what he's really trying to portray.
But what's wrong with that quote? The huge flaw and wrongness of that being a rationalization is, even if that's the culture, that shouldn't be what you go by. It doesn't make what you did any less wrong.
Mm-hmm. And then another quote was from, I believe it was his lawyer. He said that Harvey is an old dinosaur learning new ways. What does that even mean?
Yeah. So it was okay back then.
Right. Which I would like to argue too. Was it? I mean, no, it's never been okay. It wasn't okay in the 60s. It's not okay now. It's never been okay.
It wasn't okay caveman times. It was
Right.
never effing okay. Okay, so let's define rationalized behavior, though. So what does this mean, like to rationalize something? This is from Wikipedia. I know that's not the most reliable source, but it is a good definition. So in psychology and logic, rationalization is a defense mechanism in which controversial behaviors or feelings are justified and explained in seemingly rational or logical manner to avoid the true explanation and are made consciously tolerable.
I think it just boils down to, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week with Jason Kessler and how you need to look at yourself and take blame for and recognize internally that, okay, what I did was wrong, rather than being like, oh, I did this because of this, this, and this, and I'm not the one at fault here. Or do you get what I'm saying a little bit?
Absolutely. No, 100%. And that goes also back, this all just links together and is like hand holding, like all of this links together, but male entitlement, which is male privilege, and just like the feeling of invincibility, I feel like, or that you deserve something because that's how it has been, you know? So I wanted to kind of go into that, like male entitlement and what I was talking about to make this morning. Like a lot of times we feel guilty for certain things or doing certain things. We apologize in the workplace. Women naturally feel like that. And there's a lot of scenarios like either in sexual encounters with men and dating, you just kind of feel bad and guilty for things. And men never feel that way, or oftentimes. I don't want to, paint a large paintbrush, and I know men are different, but it's a thing.
And speaking of male entitlement as well, was Seth Meyers mentioned in his clip was that Harvey feels invincible, and he's already planning his comeback. And he's already saying, oh, I'll be back next year. He was fired from his own company, and he's already planning to say, oh, next year I'll do this, this, and this. And it's like,
you're done.
You feel so entitled that you're going to say, I'm going to be back and I'm coming back strong. That's how entitled that you feel.
You're done.
Right. He can't comprehend that he's done.
It just is disgusting. Okay, so let's go into the predatory nature of what he's being like. So a predator, and it's kind of bullying too, is kind of like a predator. They're inclined, and this is from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it's inclined or intended to injure or exploit others for personal gain or profit. So do you want to go into the recording a little bit?
Yep. So this morning, Kenzie and I listened to the recording, and
Do you want to explain the background of, the recording?
Yeah, for sure. So the New Yorker obtained audio of Harvey speaking to a woman in a hotel. And it was very clear that the woman did not want to be in his hotel room, and she made it very clear that she felt uncomfortable. She said, I'm uncomfortable multiple times on multiple occasions. And Harvey would respond with things such as, you're embarrassing me, and don't embarrass me, I'm a famous man. He was using his power and saying stuff like, they know me in this hotel, and just kept on trying to you mentioned it felt like he was trying to be the victim. Like, don't embarrass me. Come into my room. It's only stay for 5 minutes. Just stay for 5 minutes. And she kept on saying no.
It's manipulative.
And she kept on saying, no, I'm uncomfortable. And one time she even mentioned, last night you touched my breast and I felt completely uncomfortable. And then he went on to say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. He said, I'm not going to do anything. I swear on my children.
What a prick. I'm sorry. I'm going to say the word prick. What a freaking prick.
Isn't that crazy? Another thing.
If this is him, allegedly. All of it allegedly. But what a freaking prick.
Right. And he went on after she said, I think she mentioned it again, last night I was so uncomfortable, you touched my breast. And he said, oh, sorry, I'm used to that. I'm used to that.
Male entitlement. Systemic sexism.
It was an insane
rationalized behavior
recording.
I also wanted to break it down too, but you've touched on it. So embarrassing, like saying it, she's embarrassing him. Not only manipulative, but he's making himself the victim in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's manipulation to F with a woman's mind. Do you not think we're smart enough to break down what you're doing?
Right.
And then he's saying,
he brought up the fact that he was famous and that the hotel knows him.
Which is using power.
Mm-hmm.
He also asked her to have a drink, which makes her senses less sharp. Yeah. It's a predator behavior. That is like, he's attacking someone. He's making them their victim. He just feels like a spider,
I just put myself in this woman's shoes, and I've got to applaud her because she was so adamant saying, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And I just wonder what I would be like in that situation.
As a woman, like they're mentally there. I don't think there is a difference, but there's undeniably biological differences between a man and a woman that makes us be here today. So typically I do feel physically intimidated by men. So it's like a physical thing. Like, you don't know how you're going to react. It's terrifying, like they could hurt you.
And just, I would feel in that situation, I would feel so powerless.
And he has the power. There's several women who have come out that we don't even know that are famous, and they said he ruined their career. So there could have been these women with these flourishing careers. And it's also like showing like how it's hard for women to climb in careers. And these women could have been like the other Angelina Jolie, could have been a Jennifer Aniston. It didn't mean to make that comparison, but you know what I mean. It could have been anything.
Mm-hmm. And so these women that are coming forward that say that he halted their career or completely stopped his career, are they saying since they would say no, and since they wouldn't go to the room?
So if they refused his advances, these accusers, their career got destroyed
because he wouldn't have them in the movies that he was producing. If they said no to him,
or like talk shit to other people that he knew.
Oh,
he won. His movies nominated again, 300 Academy Awards, 81 won. I just have to say though, like, this amount of women, he has a team. A lot of times it was arranged by his team to like bring in women into these situations, allegedly. This had to have been on some level known by people,
By people on his team, you mean?
Yeah, this had to be known. Or in Hollywood, this had to be kind of known. Like, people talk.
Right.
This had to be a well-known thing, and it took this long to stop.
I wonder who the first woman was to come out.
Yeah, we need a whoever did that, you're brave, you're a badass.
And all the women that are coming out now, too.
Yeah. And we're not victim blaming. It's just like, how can we change society? They clearly felt scared their careers would go down the tube, which is a thing women have to deal with. And this also proves for the people that deny sexism isn't a thing or deny that feminism is stupid, this is why we have to do it. It's occurring. It ruined women's careers. Like, this is why we have to do it.
It not only ruined their careers, but can you imagine living with that?
Yeah. Like, we have to speak out. That's why we have this podcast. It's why it's relevant. So we also wanted to talk about a woman, a very famous woman, and her tweet. So Lindsay Lohan.
There's so many tweets that I want to talk about. Let's talk about Lindsay Lohan's tweet first.
Okay. And this pisses me off. He's never harmed me or done any, and I don't know if this is in a tweet or some other thing. I got this from a New Yorker article, but I've heard it in the news that she's said stuff like this. He's never harmed me or done anything to me, so I think everyone needs to stop.
What?
You don't know what other women went through just because it didn't happen to you. And as a woman, you are hindering women. Mm-hmm. Like, you are attacking your own kind, you know? It's just like, do you get what I mean? Like she has no right to say that. I don't know.
Talk about the opposite of empowering other women.
And this isn't a political thing. Like this, like Seth Meyers mentioned, like, it's not political. It's like we're calling out things that happen and accusations. And like, this shouldn't be political. It's something that women go through, and we should just, as decent humans, we should stop it.
So I wanted, now that we're going into a little bit of a political field, or part of this podcast, I want to talk about Hillary Clinton and what happened with her.
Look, and we're trying to show, like,
we're trying to show that we are
rational.
Yes.
Like, and logical. We're calling out Hillary Clinton now.
Right. Which we've called out Donald Trump in the past. And so what's come out is that Harvey has donated a lot of money to the Democratic Party, and including Barack Obama's campaign as well as Hillary Clinton's campaign. Mm-hmm. And it took Hillary multiple days to finally say something to the public about,
or outright, like, call it out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she might have said something subtle.
Right. But to outright, it took her a lot longer than it should have. And so that's just going to show money, power
mm-hmm.
can really influence politics on both sides.
Yeah, and like, as a woman, you should empower women,
Mm-hmm.
and that shouldn't have been the case. Not that she hasn't fought the fight and gone through sexism herself. God knows what she's been through, but at the same time, you got to stand up all the time, 24/7.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious if she's ever going to come out and say why it took her so long, because I'm reading her book right now,
mm-hmm.
and I enjoy her book. I'm going to say it. I voted for her in this past election. Do I think that she is a perfect person? 0%. She is not a perfect person by any means. But, and I don't agree with every single platform that she stood for. But that book, and especially the section I'm in right now, is all about what she's went through as a woman in politics, what she went through as a lawyer, because she was a lawyer.
Which is legitimate.
Mm-hmm. In her entire career, what she's faced as a woman in a male-dominated industries. Multiple terms here, because she was a lawyer and now she's in politics. And for me to read multiple chapters about this, and then for her to take multiple days to come out and stand up for these women and empower these women, is really let not only those women down, but it's let all women down. It's mm-hmm. let me down. It's let you down. It's let all of the women that have been affected by this terrible man.
Or any form of sexual assault.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that I just really...
Not good.
It makes me sad.
It does, yeah. We also wanted to talk, now we're still talking about politics, so we called out people of the Democratic Party, which is, again, this isn't political, this is just wrong. We wanted to talk about what a Republican said. Mm-hmm. So do we want to go into that too?
Yep. So Sebastian Gorka, he was a deputy assistant to the U.S. President Donald Trump in 2017.
Okay.
He tweeted,
which we should know, sorry.
Think if Weinstein had obeyed VP Pence's rules for meeting with the opposite sex, none of these poor women would ever have been abused.
And allegedly, Mike Pence's thing is that he never eats dinner alone with another woman unless it's his wife. And then Seth Meyers made the point, you shouldn't, I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. You shouldn't not be able to be alone with a woman and feel like that's the only thing stopping you from sexual assault, is it not being in public.
It's the most insane theory I've ever heard in my life.
And I know that that's Mike Pence's theory is probably he doesn't want like women to like falsely say something about him. But anyway, you shouldn't be afraid of that. And that limits women from what? Going to meetings, that limits women in the workplace. If that's the philosophy, you can't be alone with a woman in a meeting room and not sexually assault her or something weird happening. Why can't I be alone with a man and it just be platonic? Why, like, I go to meetings every day where I'm strictly alone in a meeting room with a man and nothing's ever happened.
Yeah, because that's how it should be.
Yeah. It's just I'm having a meeting with my coworker.
Right. I'm discussing work.
Exactly.
It's insane.
It's literally insane. I think I wanted to make one more point, but it's not coming to me.
You wanted to make the point about this tweet that if this was true and if men can never be alone with women without, thinking about sexual harassment, then how are women ever going to advance in the workplace?
Right. And you referred to a religion, even though I don't like to attack religion, it's about women empowerment. And I just disagree. Personally, and this is obviously an editorial podcast, so you wanted to kind of discuss the Mormon tradition.
Yeah, so I honestly don't remember who I heard this story from, but it must have been at one of my jobs in the past. So there was, I think it was 2 Mormon men and then 1 woman that had to take a business trip together. And so every single time for dinner, they all 3 would have to go together. And at one time, I may be getting the details of this confused, but the overall story I have correct. So one time, one of the men was like, "Oh, I'm not going to go out tonight for dinner." And so then the woman asked the other man, "Well, do you still want to go to dinner? We can still, go have a nice dinner." And the man replied and said, "No, I can't be alone with you because you're not my wife." It's like, what? What? How is our society so driven by sex that you can't even be in a public restaurant with another woman?
You just know them and they're your coworker. You might enjoy their company.
Right.
As a person. Why can't you just sit with them?
Right.
I don't know. Like, I'm friends with one of my coworkers. He's married, but I'm like good friends with him. We hang out and get lunch all the time. And my dad does that too with one of his coworkers who's a female, who's like one of his best friends in life. Like, why does it have to be sexual?
I don't know.
Like
you can have a conversation with a man that is married and there can be anything about sex cannot. I mean, it doesn't have to all be about sex. I just want to be his friends.
He's a nice dude. He's like...
You want to go to lunch with your friend?
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
So wrapping up. So I don't want to victim blame, and they're victims. I don't know what they went through. But how can we change culture so women, hiccups. Women feel empowered to come out. So why did it take so long? I just think it's culture. It's the position they were in. He was a powerful man. He was paid them off. He made them be silent. He would destroy their career. So how can we change the culture? We should encourage young men to speak out and men in general to speak out. Men should change their minds about speaking out. And when they witness something or hear about alleged things happening, they should address it and take action. And we should also, not only that, we should empower other women and try to make a culture change for the ability to speak up, which I feel like maybe it is changing. Like in 2017, a lot of stuff has come up about men, like in old culture and old society, and older men of doing this for years. So maybe it is changing. And I just think we should be on this power of let's keep on keeping on, So what do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that women should feel empowered to come out. And I also think that men should also feel empowered to stand up and to say, hey, I know that this is happening with so-and-so. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, if this has been going on for 20 plus years, it would be hard to imagine that his team didn't know about it. And so just encouraging men and women to stand up. Mm-hmm.
So what can men do? Take action, stand up, like change culture and be a feminist. And the definition of feminist, it has a negative connotation, which sucks for some people, but feminist is any sex just standing up for sexism in general.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's also important, we talked about this earlier, but I think it is important to embed a culture or an idea in younger boys and younger men to say, this isn't normal, this isn't locker room banter, and to, from a young age, instill in boys that girls are equal and to treat them with the respect that everybody deserves.
Okay, what's our positive quote?
Our positive quote is from Madeleine Albright, and she says, "It took me quite a long time to develop a voice, and now that I have it, I am not going to be silent."
Okay, ladies, we empower you. We love you. We'll stick up for you.
Perfect. Kenzie, what's your good thing for the week?
My birthday's on Tuesday.
Perfect.
Perfect, easy one.
My good thing is that I start my new job on Monday, tomorrow. And my best friend Charlotte's parents are coming into Seattle, and we're going to dinner with them tomorrow.
That's so exciting. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we love you. We empower you. And thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, the typical things.
Do everything.
Okay, bye.
Bye.